I don't know about like a very like, sugar coated like sweet message. But one thing I always go back to is like, this is what I always think about. It's like you as a kid, or like me as a kid, I was so obsessed with wrestling. I used to watch my idols on TV every week, never failed. And I would see the woman there and I would tell myself, I want to be that. And when you really think about it, it's like we all just like have one life on this earth? Like whether you're on TV or whether you're famous or not, we all just share just one lifetime, and it's about what you do with it.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. It's Chip and Carlo again, back with another episode of the Game Eye Podcast, where we highlight sports, video games, and everything in between. Thanks for joining us. It's lucky episode 13 today. That goes along with having a special guest for this episode.
Yeah, cool. So the US may have some of the most exciting and entertaining wrestling events, but the Philippines, we are no strangers to the squared circle. We are actually catching up. That gives us a touch of our own Pinoy flair and showmanship. We actually were one of their events, right? A few years back, right, Chip?
To be exact, that was around 2015. May. Oh, sakto, May yun!
Yeah.
It was in May. Oh,
wow,
that was,
just in time.
Sakto 6 years ago. Exactly in May, but it was May 23, if I'm not mistaken. But how can we forget? That was actually the very first match or the very first event that we were able to catch with Pinoy, with the Philippine wrestling scene, with the Philippine Wrestling Revolution. Honestly, that was one of the very first live wrestling matches that we got to see. Exhilarating, full of energy, athleticism, awesome moves, I should say, and creative personalities that are not hard to forget, including this special guest of ours. And I remember, Carlo. Sorry, naalala ko lang din because we had one of our friends who kind of hyperventilated all the time. I think he even left. The event in the middle of it.
He I remember he was hyperventilating, but because I was beside him, he was really threatening to like leave even during the middle of the matches. But I think he got through it, right? He got through it.
I don't think he did. Kasi naalala ko talagang umalis siya. He just hung out in Starbucks and waited for the thing, and waited for the event to just finish. Pero that was I think it took 3 hours for him to wait pa. I don't know what he did. Nonetheless, when it's that's kind of the bad side of the bad kind of hyperventilating, because when you're hyped and excited, that's obviously the good kind, no?
Yeah.
Anyway, we are lucky to have one of their stars to join us today, So she is, for me, and I think many people would agree, is definitely a star in the local circuit, who have also showed her wares in the US. Yes, I follow her Instagram and social. So, medyo up to date, no? So I've seen there are pictures of what she did outside the Philippines. Please welcome to the show, Nina of PWR.
Woohoo! What's up, you guys? Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I
haven't done a podcast in a while.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Nina.
Thank you so much for having for you to be part of our show. No?
Yeah. Thank you.
We're very excited to have
I totally forgot how to talk to people, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, good. But before we enter into this, Carlo, but Nina will definitely speak on it naman, no? The one of the segments that we do is the high five segment, where we share anything positive that has happened to us recently. So because Nina is our guest, we're gonna step aside and let our guest talk about her high five of the week. So Nina, what is that positive thing that you would like to share to our audience?
So 5 positive things that happened to me this week.
No, just one. Yeah, just one.
Just one? Honestly, I've been trying to think about it. I'm pretty sure a lot of positive things happened to me this week, but for some reason, the thing that's like been completely highlighted in my head is the fact that I had ice cream yesterday.
Well,
In this
I'm
hot
so
weather, yeah. In this
Yes,
hot weather, I would
That's
agree.
all I think about. Like
Mm.
I was craving for ice cream, and then yesterday I got it. You know, the Magnum, the almond one, my favorite. I was like, crap, I haven't had these in a while, and it just like made me so happy.
I'm a big
That's
fan of
nice.
ice cream. You know.
I'm Babo.
No,
No, that's
absolutely
okay.
not.
Actually, may isip ko din yun if we're with me because we're in this hot weather, an ice cream would definitely be like some kind of relief, right? I mean, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's been crazy.
getting to enjoy the little things, that's a big thing, right? I mean, so Magnum,
I'm all
but
about the little things.
so I mean, apart from Magnum, being obviously your favorite, what kind of other ice cream you?
What's your
also
go-to
enjoy?
ice cream flavor?
Go,
na lang?
yeah, go to ice cream. flavor.
Honestly, it's always chocolate. Always chocolate. And if ever I go somewhere and then I spot like Ferrero or Nutella flavor, I don't even question it. I don't hesitate. I go for it. But those are usually found in like the gelato stores and stuff. But yeah,
Okay.
all the time, like when someone offers me ice cream, if it's not chocolate, I won't take it.
So it's chocolate or bust. That's right. That's the one
Chocolate
right
or
there.
nothing. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Good.
Cool.
Well, I think I'll high five to that. Yeah, again, especially in this hot weather, dude.
Yeah, I mean, high
Ice
five for
cream.
ice cream, man.
High five for ice cream.
High five for ice cream.
All right, good. Let's get into it. So, Nina, thank you again for gracing us with your presence for this episode of the Game High podcast.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
And first question is, you mentioned before our show that you're a copywriter, but you're also moonlighting as a wrestler, right? I mean, after work.
Yeah.
And we feel like you're some kind of superhero with regard to that one because you're juggling two things. I think those are two different personas, no? But in terms of your character, how were you able to come up with that kind of character that you show in the squared circle?
A lot of what they teach you really, like when you're in wrestling school and stuff, when you're trying to figure out what you want to be in your gimmick. I mean, sometimes you can go like the Undertaker route and do something completely gimmicky and out of this world. But most of the time, if you really notice, a lot of wrestlers are just extensions of themselves, of like who they really are as a person, just amplified times 11, So growing up, I've been such a tomboy and I love rock music, and I used to sing in bands and all that kind of stuff. I was all about that life, and I was like, why not just take that and really jack it up to a really, really high volume. And that's where Nina came from. It's really just an extension of myself. If you meet the real life person like behind Nina, she is very girly and she loves makeup and she's very sweet and likes cute things and likes the color pink. But Nina is absolutely the opposite of that. But I don't know, it's like the real person me, I'm half girly, half I still have like my rock like roots, like my punk rock roots from when I was a teenager. And I mean that's still who I am, right? So I was just like, I'm just gonna take that side of me and I'm just gonna turn it into a wrestling character. So it's really as simple as that.
Do you have any like a band in the punk rock genre that you're into, or that growing up that you were really into?
My favorite band in the whole world is this band called Avenged Sevenfold. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but I'm obsessed with them. Yeah. I like have their logo tattooed and everything. Like it's crazy. And I even sang with them on stage once when they
really?
When they performed in Manila back in 2012.
That was a while back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
A little 16-year-old me.
Um, but Nina, I'm curious to ask. You talked about extensions of your personality, right? And when you're saying that you're the kind of person that likes pink, girly, and stuff like that. I mean, what was this decision behind that? You said that extensions are personalities are extensions of wrestlers, just magnified 11 times or so. But yeah, I mean, how in terms of how you were able to develop that, being that person that you are. I mean, how did that decision process go for you?
So actually, I was having a bit of an identity crisis at some point during my career because I started out wrestling when I was like 18. I was like fresh out of high school and I was still a teenager. I was still a baby and I was still very much in my grunge punk phase, if you want to call it. But I wouldn't even call it a phase. I really it's who I am. I still listen to that kind of music. I'm still all about that. It's just that when I, as the years went by and I grew older, I started to, like girlier things and I started to appreciate it. And at some point I'm like, oh, like still I am. And I thought about it and I was like, yes, like from the outside, well, at least if you meet like real life me, I'm very bubbly and sweet and all cutesy from the outside. But on the inside, I feel like I'm still very, very, very much my grungy self. And I don't think that's ever going to go away. So, the audience can't see what I look like at the moment, but you guys can, and I'm like full on like dark makeup and black clothes and stuff. Like I like to dress up like this sometimes, especially when I'm just appearing as Nina. I don't know, it's just like it really brings me back to my high school days, or like my roots, if you will. Yeah. And I don't think that part of me will ever really leave. So I don't plan on changing my character or anything. I think I can pull it up really well, I suppose, because it's just,
cool.
It's still who I am, very deep down inside.
I mean, You're already doing a flashback, of who you are in high school. You mentioned in your interview that one of the things that got you started with wrestling was with the PlayStation 1 and the video game SmackDown.
Oh, yeah.
How are you still a big gamer now than you were before, or parang steady lang?
Oh my gosh, I wish I was a gamer girl, to be honest. I wish I could play on a PC and stream like all my friends do, but I can't because I don't have the equipment. It's very expensive. So I wish I was a gamer or like some streamer, kind of like Paige or whatever, but I don't have the stuff. But I do have a Nintendo Switch, and I play my little girly games like Animal Crossing.
Oh
my
man,
favorite game on earth. I have a pretty badass island if anyone ever wants to visit it. And yeah, I play like Mario Kart, like all that kind of stuff. Very,
nice.
very
multiplayer talaga.
How have you designed your island in Animal Crossing? Curious to know. Most people they design it like the way they want it, right? I mean, if I did play Animal Crossing, I would probably be designing in a way that kind of looks like an airport, stuff like that. But I'm a frustrated pilot anyway. But yeah, I mean, how does your island look like? Have you designed your house? Just give us a quick description of it.
Oh man, I wish I could show you. Like I show up my island so hardcore and my house because I feel like I nailed the design on it. But my island is more like it's half very city and urban. Like I created like all these like roads and stuff, and it's really nice. And like half very foresty. That's like imagine like Washington or Oregon, like foresty with like all these pine trees and stuff. Yeah, so it's like half urban, half that. Yeah, I really, I'm so obsessed with the game. I've been obsessed with it ever since I was a little kid because I had the Nintendo DS. So I would play Wild World and you leave, and needed to get my Switch just for Animal Crossing, just for the Animal Crossing release. And yeah, I've been like, I know the game like the back of my hands. I would really follow pages on Instagram with like inspiration, like island inspiration, like and I would really like research like all the different like custom paths and stuff. Like it's crazy. So I got the game when it was like freshly released, like I think March of last year, and I think by 2 or 3 weeks I was able to achieve a 5-star island because of that. I got it.
Bilis.
Wow, you spent a lot of time with that game. I mean, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I mean,
500 hours in.
Yeah. Animal Crossing, to be honest with you, Nina. So when it came out, it had a stiff competition between all of the other games of the year. But for me, Animal Crossing should have taken a big prize, being named Game of the Year. It's such a great game. I understand your obsession with it because I wish I had a Switch so I could just play that specifically. But I've watched videos, people stream that online, and it's so cool, right? You get to interact with people, you design your own stuff around it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm a very like creative person. Well, go figure. I work at creative in real life, but I'm just really like such an artsy person. So when Animal Crossing did come out with like all these design like the design aspect of things, like I just went crazy. And it came out at such a good time too, like right at the start of the pandemic when everyone was just like freaking out. They didn't know what was happening with the world. They didn't know how to cope, and including myself. And so playing that was really such a great escape from everything that's going on. Cool.
So let's shift forward a bit here, Nina, and we want to focus right now with with your wrestling career. So in the same interview, right, when you mentioned about the PlayStation 1 and the game SmackDown, you said, quote, and I quote, I told myself that if this 5'3" geeky girl can change the game for women's wrestling, then maybe I can wrestle too. Geeky how?
So I don't know if you guys are familiar with this wrestler. Her name is AJ Lee. She retired, but she, if you do a quick Google search, you would see that she just wore a t-shirt and jean shorts to the ring, and her shtick was really like she plays video games and she's very small. She's very like extremely petite compared to the other girls, and she was very tomboyish. So that was her thing. And that's why I guess like at her time, like she really, really, really stood out because she was different. Like, how the women, at least, used to be in the WWE, blonde and, you know how it was. And she just came in and she was just so different. And I remember being a teenager and seeing that, and I was just like, hey, that looks like me, or like I can resonate to her. And so she was really the one who like really inspired me to be able to wrestle, because back then I really honestly felt like it was just a fantasy. I was like, nah, I'm never gonna look like that, or but when I see AJ, I see like, oh, that's how I dress in real life, or that's and if she could make it in there, why can't I?
I see. So it kind of she gave you obviously an inspiration, because I remember your look when we watched your first match, and then of course obviously the rest of the other team members, I would say, within the event. But yeah, I mean, the question here is really, if there are 3 things, Nina, that you can tell us about yourself that's outside of your wrestling career, what would those be?
Oh my gosh, like anything?
Yeah, anything.
It's up to you.
Um,
Anything.
Go for it.
But just 3, or if you want to go more than
I-
3, don't mind.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I'm a very artsy person. So I like to draw and paint, and that's always been my thing ever since I was a little girl. I was always the artist. So that's one thing. Another, I like to cook.
Oh,
Like
okay.
but yeah, I'm not like the best at it, but I grew up with a family of chefs. So
Wow.
literally everyone in my family cooks really, really well. My dad was like an executive chef and all that kind of stuff, and we used to have 5-course meals like
Wow.
growing up, and like every day too, like on a casual Tuesday we would have like change plate, like 5-course meal. Yeah. So I was just so used to growing up and eating such good food that you know, when especially when I would like live on my own, or if I would like travel and I would be by myself, it's like, well, I want to eat good food, so how am I gonna get good food? I gotta make the good food.
Yeah.
So
Same
I've
thoughts
always
exactly.
like been, yeah, like I've been trying to, you know, like experiment like on my own and stuff, and like recreate some of the stuff, like the recipes that I grew up eating and loving. So yeah, I love that. And then a third thing, oh my, I am obsessed with makeup. That's like the girly side of it. I think people can tell like when I come out of the ring. Like I remember we had this show, Homecoming, and I think that was like the best makeup look I have ever done on Nina. Like my eyes were so glittery, and it was just like glitter all over the place, and I was so sparkly, and I loved it.
Cool.
Segue lang with regard to food. Good thing, Carlo, I had my dinner because I don't want to be hungry after this one. But food. What's your go-to food?
Yeah, what's your specialty?
What's your specialty or your comfort food?
Specialty, when I make stuff, like I think I'm pretty good at making like different pastas because I love pasta. So like any kind, like I can make it rather well. I remember when I was in the US, so since my fiance is half Japanese, he always requested for Japanese food, and I'm like, I've never made it in my life, but okay, sure, let's try. And then I made him some katsudon, and it was such a hit. And I did it all the time, like katsu curry and stuff. Like it looks so pro. I like take pictures of it and stuff. Yeah, my favorite food though, like to eat. My favorite food though to eat, like the stuff that I cannot live without, is like anything dairy. Like honestly, if I were to be lactose intolerant, like I wouldn't know what to do with my life. Like I can't live without cheese. So if there's like one thing that I can eat for the rest of my life, it's like mozzarella sticks. I can eat that every day.
That's something nice. That's something nice. Oh, I can just imagine.
Yeah.
My mouth is watering.
Yeah, you and me both.
I'll definitely be hungry after this one, even though I ate already. But yeah. Anyway, cool. Thanks for letting us know, Chef. But nonetheless, you know, honestly, Nina, personally, I would say you're the most athletic lady wrestler in the Philippines, and I've seen all the other. And this is no knock on the other lady wrestlers in PWR or any other local company that does wrestling. Pero kasi, ang tingin ko when it comes to your athleticism, kuha mo yung moves, parang you move like the guys eh. Diba? You move like the guys, you execute moves perfectly well like that. I think that like reverse DDT on Bolt on your first match. That was good. Hindi siya yung soft talagang may oomph yung oomph yung paggalaw mo dun eh, no? But setting that aside,
Napayak niyo. Napayak niyo.
no, Honestly, and that was one of the reasons why I kept on wondering why you were not being pushed, to be a champion, to be like, the number one lady wrestler in PWR. Parang I was baffled, and parang, again, I thought you just didn't get that big of a push. I'm kind of antsy about it because parang seryoso ba to? Anyway, since you're athletic, are you also into other sports?
I'm not obsessed with any other sport as I am with wrestling. Growing up, though, I was generally the athletic type. Thank you so much for all of that, by the way. Like, I'm so overwhelmed. But yeah, I was just generally athletic. In high school, we had PE, and then we would in rotation, every different kind of sports, and every time we did anything, I always did pretty well at it. So, but I never just took a sport and was like, hey, this is my sport. I never had that until after high school when I decided to go into wrestling training.
No. Okay.
So yeah.
But being a female in a contact sport, medyo maging seryoso tayo a bit. Much less in a country that's still fairly conservative. Tama ba yung estimation, Carlo? Fairly?
Yeah, fairly.
Alright, fine.
Fairly
Nonetheless.
ba?
Still.
Yun nga yung question, fairly ba?
Country's still traditional when it comes to certain things.
Traditional.
Right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
But ikaw, what are the things that you did to overcome certain, to break these certain barriers?
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree with you. Being a female, anything here is just so difficult. And really what I did was just not give a shit. I think that's part of who I am. That's part of who the essence and the core of Nina, I believe. She just doesn't give a shit. And I've been like that growing up. I grew up very differently. Although I was born and raised here, I really grew up in my international school bubble where we were not as conservative. We were liberal as heck, and we wore whatever we wanted. We didn't have uniforms in school and stuff like that. So just being in that kind of mindset my whole life, it's frustrating that when I get into certain things over here, it's people love to stare, people love to whisper around behind your back and say all these things, but at the end of the day, I don't do this for anybody else but myself. And
nice.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cool. I mean, that's the one thing, right? I mean, I've been actually looking into your story, Nina, and for the most part, one of the things I've noticed every time that you do any interviews is that, you just absolutely have to go for it when it comes to chasing your dreams. It has been a frustrating journey for you, as I've read. And
absolutely.
Hopefully, we can go into that a bit later. But, I mean, giving it a shit, is something that drives anything that you want to do in life, I would say. So, yeah, I mean, that's really an inspiring answer, I would say.
Nice, I would say. Gusto ko yung pagiging prangka niya dun eh. Yeah. I don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yun na yun eh.
Yeah.
Sorry, muntikan ako mapamura dun because that was really smack, everybody on it. With
it's
with
just
her
what
being
it
frank.
is. I like
yeah. And absolutely, in the Philippines, the way our culture has been, in terms of, getting something new, anything new experience, something outside of our common experiences, right? I mean, it helps to be like that. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely, I totally, I see a lot of people around me, especially women, they care about what their friends think. They care about what their parents think. Above all, they care so much about what their family thinks, and they're very controlled. And I'm just someone who you cannot control. That's where Nina came from. That side of me that's just when someone tells me I can't do something, all the more I will go and do it. That's just how I am. And
I'm the same way.
a lot of women they're so careful about like how they dress and like, so they're, all that kind of stuff. I don't care. Like I will dress however I want to dress. I will talk however I want to talk. I will do whatever I want to do. Period.
Okay. I think I'm getting to sense the Nadina character coming in right now. So
yeah.
Cool.
I would say, if I would put it in WWE terms, that's like ruthless aggression, Nina. I would put it in that. Okay. In your first match, Nina, I remember vividly, like, pagbukas ng, pagpasok mo sa area, you said, it's my time. That was your very first match, if I'm not mistaken, and it was against this guy named Bolt. Being the first match of that event, and your first match for your entire wrestling career, and for all that evening with many people watching, can you describe how you felt the entire time, from the entrance to your in-ring performance and to when Bolt won? I don't agree why you won. But yeah, can you describe how the entire experience was for you?
Oh my gosh, like I don't even think I can put into words like the rush and like the happiness you feel once you step out of that curtain. And it's crazy because it's like a switch. It's like you're behind that curtain and your music is playing and I could just run in the bathroom and puke from how nervous I am, right? It's like, oh my God, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, why am I doing this? And then the second you just step out and then you hear the people cheering for you, that's it. Like your whole mood is just like completely switched and changed, and it's all happiness from there on. Oh, especially like if it's like your first match, right? Yeah, that's so crazy. That was such a long time ago, like 2017.
2015, 6 years ago.
I think it's
May.
20. I think it was 2017. Was it not?
It's 2015. 2017 kasi
No way.
parang bumalik ka. I think after 2015 you had like a long absence, and then you were featured like as a manager in 2016 middle 2016. And then 2017 that's when you had full participation like with in-ring activities, in-ring fights. Yun na yung tumuloy-tuloy ka eh. But 2015 to 2016, you had that absence, and that was felt.
Yeah.
When I was looking at
I really
so
suck.
wala siya. So parang yun.
Yeah, I really suck at dates. I don't remember, but yeah, I did have a long 2-year absence after my debut. But yeah, like I remember I actually came across those photos from that debut like last week, and I was looking at them and I was like, wow, look at her, looks like a baby. like so didn't know anything, and like her gear was just like stuff that I just pulled out of my closet, like I don't know, and we've come a long way.
Okay.
So I'm curious to ask Nina. So looking at your progression right now compared to when you started your debut, what would you tell your debut Nina before right now? Based on the things that you've learned, what would you tell her? What would you probably be doing things differently when you started your first match?
Can I swear at this podcast?
Yeah,
sure. Go for it.
You already did, so who's stopping you?
I would tell her to calm the down. Like I was just so like excited and jittery, and I was
you were
thinking too much. Oh yeah, and I just like want to go tell her like, bro, it just like calm down, like it it gets better. It definitely gets better. Your gear gets better, your physique gets better, your moveset gets better. So I remember just beating myself up a lot over things, like the little mistakes. You rewatch your match and you're like, oh, the coulda, shoulda, woulda. But I would tell her like, let it go. It won't matter because you're here to improve and get better over time. So yeah.
Nice. On the lowdown, Nina, I know this may be on the downside or something, but in Philippine wrestling in general na lang, hindi ka mababanggit. Was there someone or were there anyone that you did not like working with before?
Ooh, parang uminit. I didn't like working with. Okay, let's just put it this way.
Yeah.
I haven't had a match with anybody that I didn't love with my whole heart and soul.
Okay,
Let's just
that's
put
fair.
it that way. Yeah.
Okay.
So I haven't actually worked with anybody in a match that I disliked.
Okay. So
Yeah.
at least you had good chemistry at the very least with the others. Huh?
Yeah, I feel like with a lot of, I mean, I haven't had that many matches when you really think about it, but yeah, the ones that I've had, I would say that I did have some pretty good chemistry with them, and they were a pleasure to work with.
I like the positivity with that, Tina. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
You gotta turn it around.
Yeah, you spun it around. But we all know wrestling is more of entertainment than sports, right? But because you guys are very athletic, you do these high risk maneuvers, high risk moves. Was there a time that you felt like, oh, something popped or something tweaked, or almost you had that feeling that
Yeah.
good, I thought I was gonna get injured.
Oh, all the time. Like the thing is, like, you don't really, you have so much adrenaline when you're in there, right? If anything, a lot of wrestlers do get injured and you don't even know it, or you're like in denial of it. So we're never in a state of panic where it's like, oh, I think I got injured and I don't feel anything. Like, no, it's like, it's really like, it's the opposite. We feel something, but we're like, it's fine. There's nothing. No, yeah. Well, I have felt a lot of pain several times, and it turns out that I really was injured. So I mean, there's some times I feel like during training, which is why I took a really long time before I could ever even debut, because I broke my collarbone during training, and so my collarbone snapped in half and my shoulder was dislocated, so I needed to have surgery after that. And like I said, when you're in that moment, like, you have so much adrenaline in you, and you don't even realize, it's like you just feel something's off, or at least I felt like there was something off, but I didn't feel like anything hurt. I was like, crap, like, did something happen here? Or I was just like, wait, so I needed to tell the other guys, I'm like, I think my shoulder is dislocated. I don't know, like, I just like me trying to play it down when it's like full on, like, dangling, like broken in half. Yeah, so it's like, I don't know what's going on. So they took me to the ER and stuff like that. It only really started to hurt like a few days later, like when it was like really, the adrenaline is gone and it's just like excruciating pain. That's usually when you really feel these sort of things. I mean, a lot of different instances, man. Like, it's really that one time in a homecoming, our show last October of 2019.
Yeah.
I in the middle of the match just had a full-blown concussion and I was knocked out for 5 minutes, like 5 entire minutes. And I know this because like I wasn't backstage. Like, I wasn't conscious until I got backstage, which was like after the match ended or some shit like that. And I was so out of it. I don't remember anything. I don't know what happened. I was knocked out. I had like a huge bump in my head and stuff. It was crazy. I definitely felt that one. A few times, like when you're at training and I'm like, my foot kind of hurts, and then you take off my I take off my shoe, and then I look at my sock, and it's like bleeding, and I lost a nail or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah, little things like that, or like there's so many I can list them all.
That's okay.
Well, one time in California.
That's fun.
In California, yes, gore. In California, so I used to have like a belly piercing. You know where this is going.
Okay.
And
Oh no.
I'm training, I was kicked so many times in the gut by a student who didn't know what the fuck he was doing, and he was scraping my belly area. So my belly ring just ripped off, and I couldn't find it anymore. All I knew was just looking down, it was blood.
Oh man,
this is probably my favorite part of this episode.
I think so.
Yes.
Nina,
that's all I got.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's
love it.
stuff.
I
That's
love
stuff. It's an athlete's
The good stuff.
it's a good stuff. Basically, it makes you stronger, right? But I'm
there
curious
was
to know.
was a commercial before by the WWE when they were still at WWF. Please don't try this at home. So yeah, that's where you're coming from, folks. If you're training wrestling, make
nobody
sure
follows that though.
What?
Nobody follows that though.
Nobody
Your boys
follows
didn't
that.
follow that.
I mean,
For
sure we didn't, but yeah, but it shows you how real it still gets, right?
No, yeah, absolutely.
Even if it's still entertainment, it shows you how real things can really get. You getting injured, you just didn't know it. Oh, I have a dangling shoulder. Oh, I have a snap collarbone. Oh, I 5 minutes after. Oh, what happened? Right? I mean, all these things can get really, real. But who
definitely.
Who followed?
I mean, kidding aside, right? A lot of people I know, they'd be like, "Oh, isn't that fake or whatever?" It's just I mean, it's for sure it's predetermined. So, we shouldn't be too upset about wins and losses because, it's not real. But the performance aspect of it, all of that's definitely real. And you get slammed in the mat and all that kind of stuff. And we train so hard, many days during the week, not only to not look silly, but for the main reason is so that we can keep each other safe. That's really, really why we train 100%. Nobody can just go in there and then just do whatever. That's not possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, Nina, you mentioned your injuries. That's normally an athlete that goes through. A professional athlete that kind of goes through when it comes to doing their job, right? But how do you bounce back from those really, really tough physical challenges that you have, right? How do you bounce from that?
Time. You got to give yourself some time. A lot of wrestlers out there, they love wrestling so much that they don't want to give themselves that time to rest, because they want to be out there to perform. And I feel like a lot of wrestlers are afraid that once they, miss one show or something, that they'll be forgotten and stuff. So people just want to go, be on the card as much as possible and do crazy shit so they're always remembered. But yeah, when we tell a lot of our trainees, especially, if you don't feel right, sit down, sit it out. Wrestling is always going to be there. It's not going to go away. Your body though, it might. So, you really got to take care of it. Yeah, that's what I tell myself. At least anyway. I remember after my concussion, I was okay after a few weeks, but I made sure not to really wrestle or at least go hard many months after that. I just always try to make sure I'm not overworking myself.
Cool. But just going through the same I guess train of thought when it comes to overcoming challenges, Nina, being one of the few female wrestlers in the ring right now for the Philippine scene, if there's other women or other girls that would like to pursue a career in wrestling, or yeah, probably something similar. What would you tell them? I mean, what would your message be like for them?
Um, I don't know about like a very like, sugar coated like
Yeah.
sweet
Mm.
message. But
Be real.
one thing I always go back to is like, this is what I always think about. It's like you as a kid, or like me as a kid.
Mhm.
I was so obsessed with wrestling. I used to watch my idols on TV every week, never failed. And I would see the woman there and I would tell myself, I want to be that.
Mhm.
And when you really think about it, it's like we all just like have one life on this earth, like whether you're on TV or whether you're famous or not, we all just share just one lifetime, and it's about what you do with it, right? So it's like if my idols were able to work their ass off and train really hard to get to where they want to be, there is no reason why I can't do the same. That's what I tell myself all the time. So that's what I want people to, really think about. It's like if there's something that you want to do in this life so badly, you really got to do it. Because if others can, especially if you got some idols, it's like you can be the same. You can do that too. You just have to work really hard. And that's really all it is. If you really want something, you gotta go get it, because you don't want to be 80 years old and crippled and be like, man, I totally could have been a wrestler in my lifetime.
Right.
It's
No
like,
regrets.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's like it's not like your conventional, especially a freaking pro wrestler. It's like, we're not even like, it's kind of frowned upon with like real pro athletes or like MMA hunks who think, like wrestling isn't shit. But like, no, it's like no matter how silly people think it is, it's like if other people are doing it, then well, hell, so can you. That's really all it is. Yeah.
Nice.
You mentioned 80 years old, but what about 80-year-old person trying to attempt a power bomb? I think that would be impossible to happen.
How?
Nina, ikaw ba? Did you try applying in the WWE? I mean, we're talking about dreams.
So that's
like,
a very that's a very difficult process. It's not, as easy as it seems. It's not like an application, hey, look at me, like notice me. It's really you need to do your best in the indies. You need to do your best just like on your own before they can like actually start to notice you and have their eyes on you. So it's not like you can be a nobody and just like randomly apply. It doesn't work that way. They really like you gotta be selected and invited to their tryout and stuff like that. So sometimes it's about who you know. Not gonna lie.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, as is everywhere else, really. But a lot of times it's really you just have to, even if you're not in the WWE, you have to work a match like you're in the WWE all the time. Like put on a show constantly and let the people love you, let the people recognize you. And when, you get all that buzz, WWE could potentially eventually, knock on your door. So,
Nice.
I mean, I don't think I'm there yet at all. Very far. But the future seems bright for me. I have like all these opportunities in California, and like a really good wrestling school that I go to, and I'm excited for that chapter of my career for sure.
Wait, you mentioned about your future being bright and you have a lot of things to look forward to. But how long do you see yourself doing this? Or, will this be like a career that, full time you're going to take on?
Ooh, that's definitely a very good question and a very difficult conversation that I have with myself. you know, for guys, it's like you can be over the age of 30 and still be doing this. You could be 40 and still doing this. Whereas girls, it's kind of a different story. I'm currently 25.
Still a long way. Yeah.
I don't want to like be. I may appear as someone who's like always like really really positive, but I mean as do everyone. Like I have a lot of moments where I really really doubt myself and like what I have achieved so far. I feel like I've been in for too long, and I feel like I really not yet. I feel like at 25, and then you add 2 years of your life, and it's like, oh, like the clock is kind of ticking, you know. I think about that a lot, like especially recently, like during this pandemic. But you know, I've kind of like come to terms with it. Like I told myself, if I try to plan my life too much or expect too much of myself, I'm never gonna be happy in what I'm doing. And so for me, it's just like, well, while I'm still able to wrestle and while it's there for me, I just need to enjoy it as much as possible. Yeah, so my goals really, I mean, I do have a lot of goals that I want to like tick off my checklist. I hopefully can do it in the next 5 years of my life. I don't know what the future holds for me in Philippine wrestling. We can all guess why. We don't know. None of us are even really vaccinated yet or anything. We don't know when a next show or a next event is even possible. But yeah, fortunately for me, my fiance in California and the stuff over there has been looking up. So for sure, good. I look forward to, you know, staying over there and doing what I can over there. Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Cool.
All right. Well, we'll pause a bit with the questions, but no, not really pausing with the questions, but we'll do our game, Nina, if you don't mind. We're going to do our quick fire. So
Games.
you know, we'll go for it. Let's go for it.
Energy, dude.
Yeah, I know, right?
It should be in the squared
Let's
circle.
go.
Yeah. All right. So quick fire round. Essentially, it's an either or question. What we're going to do is, you know, as quickly as you can, just go ahead and choose your answer. We won't
on top of your head.
On top of your head. We won't go into details why you picked that question, but you know, it's kind of gonna make sense, you know, when we do go for it. Okay.
Oh my gosh, I'm nervous.
Okay.
I know it's nothing hard hitting.
It's nothing hard hitting.
Okay, for example, since you're into food, sabihin natin ito, bacon or tapa. You know, it's just simple as that, diba?
Yeah.
But
okay, bacon.
Okay.
Bacon. Okay.
Beach party or house party?
House party.
Dancing or singing?
Singing.
The Rock or Stone Cold Steve Austin?
The Rock.
I like that. Charlotte Flair or Trish Stratus?
Ooh. Trish Stratus.
Okay.
I knew you'd have a hard time there.
Go for it, Chip.
What for you, on top of your head, it's not an either or question, but what's the best finishing move that you've ever seen?
My own. Kidding.
No.
I love that. That's on top of her head, man. That's on top of her head.
I mean, describe your... Sorry, I'm going to pause there for a bit, but I'm curious to know, and probably for our listeners as well, Nina, describe your finishing move.
My finishing move is a faceplant DDT.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
So I hook the person underneath and then I swing my leg and then we both take a face bump.
Boom.
Oh,
okay.
Nice. Okay.
Honestly, there are better, but I just wanted to be witty about it.
No, that's awesome. Okay.
Golden era or golden age era, attitude era Ruthless Aggression or PG era?
Ruthless, because that's that's the era I grew up in.
Okay.
Absolutely, it had a very, it was very attitude still, but with the modern superstars that I got to grow up with, John Cena, Randy Orton, Triple H, all that kind of stuff. So definitely enjoyed that one.
Okay. Best wrestling game you've ever played. Now we know about SmackDown, but what else would you say is the best wrestling game you've ever played?
Honestly, a lot of people rave about Raw versus SmackDown. Wait, or no, was it? No, sorry, it was no, it was that SmackDown game, Here Comes the Pain. People, I think that was on PlayStation 2 or something. Yeah. I never really got to play that often. The only real wrestling game that I ever really had to play because I owned it was the SmackDown 2 Know Your Role on PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say that.
I love that. I love that video game.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Who are your top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time in the WWE or WCW if naabutan mo, or TNA? If you'd even include
top 5 wrestlers of all time.
Favorite.
My top 2, hands down, would be Eddie Guerrero and then AJ Lee. AJ Lee, actually have her tattoo on my wrist.
Nice.
Yeah, it's her logo. CM Punk would be in the mix. Lita.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Lita's so good. So what was that, 4? So a 5th one would be Seth Rollins.
Oh, okay. All right. That's a good mix there, huh? Going from the Ruthless Aggression up to the PG era.
Modern, yeah.
Modern, yeah. I don't know if you've even historically, watched even the Monday Night Wars in YouTube or whatever, but what was the best stable for you? Best team stable?
In that era or of all time?
All time for you.
All time, definitely the stable that stuck to me was Evolution.
Evolution, yeah. It was it was right there, Ruthless Aggression era, yeah.
Oh yeah, that was in the right when I really got into wrestling, and nothing can beat that feeling. I don't know if you guys have the same feeling when you guys used to watch wrestling when you were younger, when you were kids, or just anything really that you used to really love as kids. And when you just watch it and you just felt that happiness and that rush, oh my gosh, you're a kid, you don't know anything what's going on backstage, unlike now, but you watch it and you're so happy, so surrounded it, and it's that's how I felt, just watching that. So every time I I think back about it, it's just wow, I really wish I could go back to those days when I was a little girl and I was by myself, and we didn't even have flat screen TVs back then. It was just those,
I agree.
It was just I would be all alone at night past my bedtime, just watching that and watching Evolution. And I remember Randy Orton, a young Randy Orton was my first crush ever. Good time.
Even if you compare, because in the Ruthless Aggression era, DX reunited. I mean, when they were up against the Spirit Squad, right?
Yeah.
Would you choose Triple H DX or Evolution Triple H?
Oh, in that case, I would choose DX Triple H because they're very entertaining.
It was very, very fun.
For sure. DX is also a really good stable, actually. Yep. Definitely up there with Evolution. Okay. Also really, but it's just I couldn't, obviously, I was too much, I was probably a toddler when DX all started and stuff, so I wasn't really watching them then, but they're I love them. I love the combination more of Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
The rest, yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
all
cool. Well, as much as we would like to extend the show, Nina, it's really been fun speaking with you, learning about what you are.
It's over already.
Well, just a few more things to cover, but we're down to the match point segment where we will talk about your final take. Well, you actually, since you're the guest, we'll talk about your match point. With the following questions, and of course you can do some shout outs out there for your fiance and all the people that you've worked with. But I mean, sorry if this would come out as serious or something, but what is the challenge with Philippine wrestling, and what kind of support is needed for this industry to thrive?
Okay, so one thing that I really noticed here is that you can be a really good wrestler, but it doesn't mean that you can be a good teacher. And that's definitely something that we lack over here. We have a lot of like just naturally born like amazing wrestlers. But you know, as much as we put them in the position of head coach, it's still, you know, I mean, it's not to downplay them, it's just like I really feel like it's not enough. We definitely need a lot more reinforcements in that. I remember going to California and I attended Santino Brothers. SoCal's like best wrestling school, and there are teachers there that are like, they're not necessarily big names in the wrestling scene, but boy can they teach. It's like there were certain things that it took 4 years for me to try to understand, like in the Philippines, and it took me about 2 minutes to get it when I went to California. And it's like it's those things. It's like some people just, they really know like how to explain things, how to show things, how to break things down. Yeah, and I wish we had enough good teachers and trainers. So a lot of the stuff in the Philippines, I mean, although we were able to train, it's like I feel like a lot of it was like just learning on our own. You know, like just watching stuff on YouTube and whatever. It's like a lot of like self-taught kind of stuff, as opposed to if you really enroll to a real wrestling school elsewhere, like especially in the US, it's like it's a class. It's really a class. It's there's so much discipline. Like it's tough. It's 100 times more tough. So yun lang really. But we have a lot of things, like I mean, like on the contrary, like on the other hand, like how we do shows in the Philippines, they're like, it's so much better than how it is like in the indies that I've seen in the US. Like we are so much more organized, because like a lot of us like work in corporate, so we just know how to handle sponsors, we know how to talk marketing, we know how to all that kind of stuff. So it's like when we produce shows, when we post on social media, it's really like we're like our own agency in PWR. So
I noticed.
Yeah. So it's like we can do that well, I feel like really freaking well, as opposed to anywhere else. But yeah, just a bit like more polishing on the wrestling. I mean, not just for everyone, like even myself. Like I feel like if we had training, you know, like an actual dojo, like actual classes, like 4 to 5 times a week, then our performance, our physique, like everything would just be like so much better and like really be improved, you know? Yeah.
So absolutely, you know, the mentorship that's needed, you know, for the current stable of the talents rather, for everybody right now. That's what's needed. Can I just say though?
I like the part when she said that, you know, we make up for it. The local wrestling scene makes up for it with the organization, with all this corporate sponsorship, with them, you know, each and every talent that has been able to promote themselves, like what she said. And I notice it, parang may kanya-kanyang agency yan eh. May kanya-kanyang business. And, honestly, I thought I was really interested more when these talents were really promoting themselves, diba? With advent of social media and all that. So, I agree. I agree with that.
And the point there as well, Chip, is that, I would have thought that Nina would have said the organization needed mentorship as well. But it doesn't need that, to be honest, because Nina, can I just say, when we watched the first time that we guys, us ourselves watched the show, it was the most entertaining, 2-3 hours of my life.
Oh,
I mean, come
and
on.
you guys went way back in the day.
Yeah.
You should have seen it in recent times. If you guys watch Homecoming, you would have been blown away.
Right. I mean, obviously, if things pick up, praying that things go, the things with our, situation right now with the quarantine and such. If things go well, we're definitely watching those shows. Absolutely. No question about it.
But you're still going to perform, let's say when PWR rolls around again, you're still going to perform in the Squared Circle, right?
Yeah. It's just a matter of which country I'll be in by then.
Okay, by that time. Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha,
I mean,
gotcha.
to be honest, I don't really plan to stay in the Philippines forever.
Okay.
So,
because your fiance is in the States, obviously.
So, I don't know where I'll be by then when PWR is back. But any opportunity that I can still wrestle for PWR, obviously I'll take it.
Cool. Okay. Cool. Any shout outs that you'd like to, throw out there?
Man, my friends, my streamer friends, Kevin, Sam, Jed, I know they'll be watching this when this is out. My fiance, Makoto. That's pretty much it.
All right, cool.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
So wait, Chip, okay, so we are saved by the bell. So that's it, everybody, for another episode. Nina, we wanted to thank you so much again for joining us today. Just telling your story, what your experiences are with Philippine wrestling. We really appreciate it.
Cool.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I had so much fun. Thank you so much for having me. It feels so nice to be talking to other human beings again.
Just to break the monotony, right?
Yeah.
Cool. But definitely, Nina, we really appreciate you joining us for this show.
We definitely appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, so everyone visit us on gamehigh.ph to get the latest content. We do write our weekly articles, so please follow us there. We are also on Facebook and Instagram at GameHighPH. Get yourself updated with what's what.
Of course, guys, if you have any suggestions, violent reactions, or basically your thoughts on your current episode, and please PWR, please push Nina to be your number one wrestler because she can definitely carry the roster by herself. I mean, with respect to other wrestlers, but seriously, you have got to promote her. You've got to train her well, also. And Nina, I know you're going to deliver really for local Philippine wrestling. But anyway, guys, your thoughts on your current episode, we would love to hear from you. Hit us up in the comment section or message us through our Facebook or Instagram pages. Nina, thanks so much. Really appreciate you. Guys, thanks for listening. This is Chip.
And this is Carlo.
Cheers, guys. We'll see you then.
Ciao.